June. Then there's a break in August. Then we have the minor season from September to November. September, October, November. So that is it. When we come to the rainfall amounts that we are expecting,
right?
That's the question you're asking.
That's right. The volumes.
Yes, the East Coast up to Cape Coast, we're expecting above average rainfall.
What does that mean, please?
So we have a normal rainfall that we normally. So for the East Coast, the normal rainfall is about from 217 to 420 millimeters of rain.
Right.
It is not. We have the range because you are starting from Aflau, Denu, all the way to Cape Coast. So they have different amounts of rainfall. So we have 217 to 420.
Right.
But now we are expecting 262 to 430.
That's more. What does that mean? I mean, does it mean that we're going to get a floods?
That question.
It's always on my heart.
Yes. In Accra, and in most cosmopolitan areas,
right,
because of the population, the us taking buildings, we're building waterways, our gutters choked. Even 20 to 30 millimeters of rain, we have flash floods.
Little rain, big floods.
Yes. And some drains will collect from other drains.
Okay.
So in Accra, for instance, if it rains all the way from Brekusu through, and already our ground is already soaked with water.
That's right.
Then it now gets runoff. And once those water comes around, then it's flooded. Already, our Accra situation is such that it's a marshy area. So once there's a little rain, we get floods.
That's right.
So, but Accra is not the only place that makes Ghana.
There are many other places.
Yes, Ghana is a huge thing. So now I think that we have to also concentrate on other places. Because we just say Accra will flood, and then we leave the other places. So this time we realized that.
Right. It's okay. And the other one, Kuzo, let's swap it so we can see. Is it this infographic?
No.
And if you're watching on Facebook, you can see there's.
You've gone too much.
You've gone to the previous one.
Yes.
Is it this one?
Yes. This one.
Great.
So you see that where the yellow is, Wenchi, Sunyani, Doma, Bechem, Mim, Goso.
Mim. Okay.
We are expecting a little below normal rains.
Okay.
So their normal rains that they have this time they will get a little below that. Mind you, even that place we are saying a little below will be more than Accra. So in the forest zone we have 273 to 576 millimeters of rain.
Right.
To be their normal.
Right.
But we are expecting 346 to 479 millimeters of rain. So we are expecting below normal. But the rest of the country we are expecting normal rains. For the March, April, May.
Okay.
So we have 3 months with a running window of a month.
Okay.
Because when you forecast, anywhere we do forecast, whether it's banking, whether it's marketing.
It may happen or it may not.
Yes, so you want to be as close to accuracy as possible.
Okay.
So in this sense, we do it 3 monthly with a running window. So we have March, April, May.
Okay.
Then we jump April, May, June.
Okay.
Then we jump May, June, July.
Okay.
Then June, July, August.
Right.
July, August, September.
Right.
Then we come down to September, October, November.
Okay.
Then our wet season is off. We go to the dry season. So this is March, April, May. And so April, May, June, we realize
Let's
that...
see it. Kuzo.
This is March, April, May. April, May, June.
Right. Not this one. There's another one.
Before this one.
Okay.
The third one.
Okay, so you're watching it live on Facebook, you can see it.
April, May, June, yes. The next one. April, May, June, we see that there is increase in the East Coast.
Okay.
So there is increase in the East Coast, and then that one we got this parts of the coastal savannah being included, and they would also have above average rains. It does not mean that there will be patches which will have normal.
Okay.
Some places will have normal,
okay,
depending on the atmospheric conditions there.
Right.
Then the rest of the country, we expect normal rains.
So what should we be doing, citizens? I mean, okay, were you talking about this one?
This is the dry. This is cessation.
Okay.
Then we go to dry spell. What gave us problem last year?
Where we couldn't find food and water.
Dry spell.
Dry spell. So let's see dry spell. It's there. Okay. So
we have dry spells. We have two of them. The first dry spell. This is the second dry spell.
But there's a first dry spell.
There's a first dry spell. And the first dry spell is when the break in the rainfall.
Okay.
Beyond the normal. So if some people have 7 days, 9 days, that's the break. And when this break happens, especially for our crops, for our farmers, for us, when it rains, it's at a point the rains become consistent, and then there's a break. We can use that to desilt our drains, to prepare, and then wait for the next set of rains.
That's right.
For the farmer, the first 50 days of the rains, of the planting, is when our crops flower. So when we have when we have long dry spell, we don't have the rains, we might not get a flower.
Which means that the time you expect the crops to flower, because they're not getting water, you may risk losing everything, or getting low yields. Okay.
And so from this, the 51st day to the end of the plant, the life cycle of the plant, the flower will not turn into our crops, our food. If it doesn't also get the required rain, their flowers will fall off. So that is the danger.
So there could be hunger, or if you like, there could be low production of food. If this does happen. And you say potentially it could happen.
This time when we ran the models, we still saw it. It is dangerous when the first dry spell towards the end coincides with the second one. Then it becomes a longer one. If we don't practice safe agricultural, like climate smart agricultural practices, then we have issues.
Green room, irrigation.
Irrigation, the number one. When we don't have irrigation, we could also cover the floors. Or we plant creeping crops, granules, beans, egusi. We plant all of them.
Mulching.
Mulching to cover the floor. So
I still remember my GSS.
Yes, that's good. So that when you do that, the coolness in the land could be sustained until the rainfall normalizes.
So at the beginning of the season, the first dry spell, this I'm reading from your document, longer dry spells are expected for most places in southern Ghana.
Most places for the first one. So you can see that East Coast, it's normally 9 days, but we are forecasting 11 to 13 days. Then West Coast is 7 days, we are forecasting 9 to 10 days. Forest Zone is 7 days, we are forecasting 8 to 10 days. Transition towards the second
dry spell,
there we get 8 and 9 to 10 days. The second dry spell.
Let's see the second dry spell.
So the second dry spell, you see that it has normalized in the forest towards the transition, but still the forest towards the coast we still have the dry spell lingering on. And so that's what I say that we had 14 days somewhere. If it comes to add up to the 16 days, it's 30 days.
30 days without rain when the crops have been planted. So that's not good.
It's not good. So that is why we are bringing this out, that our people should practice good and safe agricultural, climate smart practices. It will help. Last year when it came, I think it was a learning curve for all of us, because we still went around said it, but because we have not experienced such a thing before, I think we all went to sleep.
This dry spell, what brings it about? Is it climate change, global warming, galamsey? What brings cutting down of trees? What causes it?
A lot of factors, but sometimes with this our season, we get most of the drivers like the sea surface temperatures.
Right.
And when the sea surface temperatures from our coast here, when it is warming, we get the rains. But when there's the cooling effect is so much, then it gets our spells in between.
Okay.
So that is what gives us problem. When the pressure systems is also a bit high, it pushes our rainfall up, and then we suffer this problem. So when we are going to, it has always been there. It has always been there. But, there is something we call the variability in the rainfall.
Okay.
So sometimes it's good. Sometimes it comes down. It goes up. It is long. It is short. So
it depends on how we behave as human beings.
Yes, it is one thing, anthropogenic, and then again some characteristics in the atmosphere.
You have given the stakeholders in the agri sector some advice.
Yes.
You have spoken about the build space as well, how we're building and all of that. Let's talk about Galamsey cutting down trees and its effect on how much rain we get in many different places. I mean, growing up as a boy, I knew places where there were trees. For example, on the highway, Accra High Street, at Tamils High Street, in front of lotteries, you find trees lined up, all of them in the Cocoa Affairs area. Then we came to cut all of them down. There are many different places we've cut down trees to do.
Sometimes my worry is even the N1.
Right.
When we're constructing it, no single tree.
Yes.
It shouldn't be the case. You see, it shouldn't be the case. When we should make it a conscious effort
to be green.
To be green. When we go to our Sahelian countries, they don't even have the rains, but they have the trees.
Right.
And when you go to a friend and the friend say, I want it, and he will tell you the forest belt. You will show it proudly.
Right.
You see, and sometimes it's worrying. The trees, it determine the climate of an area. So we have local climates and we have longer climates. So our local, we'll talk about the orography, the trees, the soil moisture, all those things help.
Right.
Now, when we cut out the trees, and the moisture below the tree,
it's cooler.
It's cooler. And once the sun comes out and the moisture gets out of the trees, rainfall falls. It forms a rain, and then it comes.
That's why we see a lot of rain around the Brie area.
Yes.
As soon as
once
the sun shines,
the tree is there, and then the mountainous area.
Right.
The highlands is also there. So we have a wind going up, forming the moisture in the under rising up under the leaves also help, and then they form. So this tree thing, we have to be conscious. So we cut down. We should plant before we cut down. But we cut everything down without planting. But the other one,
you don't want to talk about. It's okay. Now, for many times we're told, it's going to rain. There's going to be flood here. So move to higher grounds. What advice do you have for people who live in low-lying areas? Children who will be going to school during this time, Parents will be going to work. They will ask their children to go to school because they have to concentrate. What advice do you have generally?
What we do is that this we call a seasonal forecast.
Okay.
It tells us how to plan towards the season.
The best in the
but we don't. That one is not in isolation. We advise that it goes with the daily forecast. We normally have weather warnings. It goes with it, the weekly forecast. And then we should make cautious effort to look at the weather. Now, where we are going, weather plays a key role in our lives. Number one, us that we drive.
Right.
We should be careful not to drive in flash waters.
Okay.
I remember some years ago, circle here, water took a four-wheel drive away. Yes. I remember.
Right into the door.
Yes.
Right,
yes.
I remember that.
So we should be careful. Once, when we were young, I think our parents told us, when the rain is coming, just wait somewhere safe.
Yes, that's right.
Even be in the school will come for you. So when we see it and the weather is either we take our children there or we find somebody to take them or we leave them.
Right.
And then we stay with them.
They'll be safe and have a peace of mind.
Yes. Because when you're even at work and they are not safe, you don't know where they are. These are all advisories. When NADMO is there, water resources, hydro is saying, Meteo, let's listen to them.
Right.
Let's collaborate with them. Our local authorities, we are just pleading that our drains should be desilted.
Okay.
It should be if it will take the nights for us to be collecting the rubbish from the streets and from the gutters,
right,
it should be done so that we would all be safe. Those in the low-lying areas, the last time I saw some checks, the people in the low-lying, they were walking through the water. It's not safe, it's not hygienic. So if we could move them to a higher place,
a
higher ground, it will be good. And even with those places, I think they were naturally made to conserve water.
Right.
But we have built in all those places, and then we are suffering for
even the Ramsar sites.
If there are Ramsar sites, we should not be. So this one needs
urgent attention.
Yes,
I see. Thank you very much for the public education. We're grateful that you could join us. We had to make time for this because it's important that we do. Mrs. Francisca Mate is Deputy Director of Research and Applied Meteorology at the Ghana Meteorological Agency. She joined us here to share this critical information. As Black Scratch, I would say, now that you know, what would you do? And you have been told what to do. So don't wait for the rains to come. Start planning now so that when the rains come, you will not be found wanting. Exactly. And you can only get that information here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. We'll come back with some more conversation. Today's World Kidney Day. We're celebrating and not celebrating in joy, but we're commemorating the day and also uniting with our brothers and sisters to want to understand their situation.